I'm Jessica, and welcome to Reality Check. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode where I check off your list with season 3 of Perfect Match episodes 4 through 6. Okay, I don't know how I feel about this show right now. I feel like it started off very strong, but what I'm seeing is there is a little bit of a pattern. And that pattern is no one is choosing anyone else unless they have forced their hand to. And that is literally what we are seeing in these 3 episodes. And honestly, is something that Netflix is going to have to fix going forward, because I can tell that they are kind of makeshifting twists and turns as they go. Like, not crazy twists and turns, of course, but they're definitely makeshifting certain twists in the show because all of the OGs are just not picking any of the bombshells. I heard that the OGs had a pact that they wouldn't choose any of the bombshells that came in because they just wanted to stay on the show, and that kind of was the pact that they had, which totally just defeats the purpose of the whole show, right? Like, if they're just sticking together because they're OGs and they have this pact, well, that, like, where's the fun in that, right? Like, if you actually look at episodes 1 through 6, name me 3 couples that we can actually buy into and that are actually kind of giving us the drama. You know, really the only couple is AD and Ollie. All of the other couples, I don't buy into them whatsoever. And again, it's just frustrating because we're getting all of these really great bombshells that I feel like are there. They're coming in hot. They want to split up all the couples. And again, because of the format of the show, I was talking about it last week. First of all, they're not given a lot of time to really mix and mingle and spend time with the people on the show. But also too, like, if the cast already has a pact that they're just not going to choose any of the bombshells, well, then they're out of luck. So I can already see as I'm watching these few episodes that it literally, I think it was in episode 5 or at the end of episode 5 and into episode 6, I believe, when they probably were like, oh my gosh, like, we need to do something. And that's when we saw the whole shakeup of the house. No, it was episode 6, the shakeup of the house, when 2 of the OGs had to leave. And I'll talk about that, obviously, but they definitely did that to, you know, shake things up. Because if we're just going to get the same old couples coupling every single episode, well, where is the fun in that, right? So I did like the shakeup. I could tell that it was produced and I could tell that it was forced. And I mean, again, like, I'm recapping 3 episodes. Not that much has changed in the house. Not too much. I would say the shakeup definitely helped shake things up. And, you know, we kind of see some true colors come out. But other than that, there's a lot of kind of the same old stuff. So let's get into the recap. So starting with episode 4, it was after the kissing challenge. And we know that Sandy and Clayton, surprise, surprise, had won the challenge. They go on their date. And it's so funny because I think Clayton really thought that he had a shot with Sandy. Like, he was like, look, like, you know, again, he's going with his intuition. It's meant to be that we're on this date with each other. And she immediately shuts it down. Shuts it down so hard. And it's funny because I'm like, Clayton, after everything that we've seen you talk about your intuition, maybe this is telling you that your intuition maybe isn't the best thing to listen to, because you're saying to Sandy that you have intuition that, oh, because you had the best kiss with her, that you should partner up with her and you should match, or you should get to know her further. And then you're listening to your intuition, first off with Rachel, to be like, yeah, I want to be with you. This is my intuition talking. I think we should partner up. Then not even 24 hours later, you're listening to your intuition saying that, oh, sorry, we shouldn't actually be together. So anyways, he definitely maybe needs to not listen to his intuition, because I don't think it's the most accurate. I, first of all, was also shocked that he rated Rachel's kiss a 6. Now, I don't know what it feels like to kiss someone blindfolded and you have headphones on, like you can't hear. So I don't know if you just completely lose all senses, right? Like the same also goes for Lucy. She rated Ollie a 10. And it's kind of like, did you rate Ollie a 10 because you knew it was Ollie? And so you kind of maybe wanted to say, hey, I'm kind of into you, I'm going to rate you a 10. Or did she maybe think it was Daniel? But Daniel doesn't have the kind of facial hair that Ollie has. So again, like she, that whole thing spiraled a whole argument between her and Daniel, which I will get into in a bit. But again, it's kind of like, do you lose all of your senses because you don't have your two senses of hearing and seeing? I don't know. But anyways, I just was so curious and I was surprised that Clayton rated Rachel a 6 because he's kissed her before. Like that kiss should have been familiar, and also she should have been familiar, right? Like if you're holding her, I don't know. I don't know how this whole thing works, but I was really surprised that he rated her a 6, especially because poor Rachel rated him a 10. And honestly, Clayton too, like he kind of lost me in this episode. Like Clayton, listen, I was really rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. At least I was, because I know exactly what you have gone through the past 2+ years. I have followed that case that he's been going through so closely. So I am really just rooting for him and his happiness and to find someone. So I was rooting for him, and then this guy thinking that he's going to go into the boardroom. And I don't know if I guess he was confident that there were going to be women in the boardroom and that he would have been able to go on a date, because you can kind of see just the way that he was talking in his confessionals. Like he realizes, I guess, that, oh, it's not going to work out with Sandy, and oh, now it's not going to work out with Rachel because of my intuition. Now I get to go on the date. So did you realize when he went into the boardroom with Sandy, how shook he was when he saw that it was men that were on the board? Because he was probably like, oh, perfect, slam dunk. I've now ended things with Rachel, and it's now my turn. I can now have my hand in choosing what girl that I want to be with. And again, he kind of shot himself in the foot. Again, it was his intuition that he keeps saying that he's listening to, that I don't know if you should be listening to it, Clayton. But again, like he just lost me in this episode, because as soon as he comes back from the date, he tells Rachel, my intuition has kicked in, and, I just feel like it's not going to work out between us. And Rachel proceeds to say that this is not one, not two, but the third time that he's done this. And a lot of people have asked, well, how is this the third time? And she has gone on a podcast and said that it's 3 times because, number one, it was on his season, like the rose ceremony from hell is when he did that the first time. Number 2 was that after the final rose, after a season on the live show, and now here in this moment on this episode, him, I guess, rejecting her. But, as much as he lost me, because he really was the one in the previous episode to be really adamant on coupling up with Rachel and matching up with her, I also was just really surprised with Rachel. Like, I didn't expect her to react that way, but I don't know if she had like high hopes and was like, okay, right place, right time. This is exactly what I've been wanting for the past years. Here is the perfect shot, the perfect opportunity to try things with Clayton. But also her, it's been 12 hours, and then fast forward to the next day, her to be so hurt and devastated. Like, I understand totally, because, he's done this to you before. But I was surprised that she reacted that way, because I guess I didn't really think that she was going to be that invested in trying things out with him. I wonder too if it was maybe just more of embarrassment. Like, oh my gosh, this is now the third time that this guy has shot me down on national television. I am so embarrassed. I think maybe that's where that was coming from. And I mean, look, I think Clayton did the absolute right thing in sending himself home, because what he did do to Rachel was definitely not fair. And then, it kind of goes back to, did he match up with Rachel because he just wanted her to be in the house? I don't know. Again, like it just all goes back to these pacts that everyone is saying that they have in the house. I don't believe that Rachel and Clayton knew that each other were going to be on the show, but it kind of makes you wonder, like, how did Clayton flip a switch in 12 hours? It's beyond me, because the things that he was telling Rachel the previous night, the previous episode, it wasn't just like a pity match. Like, he was like, my intuition, like, it is meant to be. The universe is telling us that this needs to happen. Like, he was so adamant. I don't understand how he flipped the script so quickly. And again, it also kind of also points back to, he thought in his mind that he would go into the boardroom and he would have a shot at going on a date with potentially 1 out of 4 women that was presented to him. And, maybe that was kind of him being like, I want someone new. And so he ended things with Rachel before, maybe trying to do a good thing, ending something with Rachel before starting something new with someone else. But again, it just really shot him in the foot, and his intuition has sent him packing. And honestly, rightfully so, and it hurts. I feel bad saying that, because again, I think if you listen to the first few recaps that I've done, I've been in Clayton's corner, because I really do want to see him happy after everything he's been through. But I don't know. He really, really has lost me this episode. And again, I do think he did the right thing by sending himself home. Let's talk about Daniel and Lucy's fight, because look, Daniel is a walking red flag. Let's just say that. Every single episode, we have seen an argument between Daniel and Lucy, and usually, aka 100% of the time, it's Daniel starting the argument and just picking at something that he doesn't need to pick at and is not a big deal. So in this argument, one out of many, he's so mad at Lucy because Lucy rated Ollie's kiss a 10 and she rated Daniel's kiss a 9. And so I don't know if he's embarrassed. I don't know if he's like, yo, like, you're coupled up with me. How are you doing this? How do you not tell the difference between Ollie and myself? All of the things. I understand from his perspective why he could maybe be annoyed. But for him to have to go so far the way that he got angry and mad and upset at Lucy, like, he definitely was uncalled for. And at the end of the day, like they all say on Love Island, it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge, you know? And I don't know. I think Daniel, to me, I have no excuse like for him. I just see him as a red flag, and that is really all I see, truly. And again, it's kind of just like, it goes back to it being so obvious that these OG couples have a pact with each other, because after every single argument, they kiss and make up. Argue, kiss and make up. Like nothing ever happened, and that happens every single day. That is such a red flag. And how Lucy isn't turning her eye away from Daniel to say, oh, you know, he's getting mad at me for something that I don't have in my control, or something that is so petty, something that he doesn't even need to get mad at me for. Like, the fact too that she's not clocking that is also upsetting to me, because I really do like Lucy, and I definitely don't think Daniel is the man for her. I am getting red flag energy for sure. And I guess we'll see how it goes. But I mean, every episode, they argue, they make up. They argue, they make up. So I don't see them winning whatsoever, but I do see them being very comfortable with each other. So I feel like they're going to make it to the end. Again, if all of these people have these packs going on, but I don't think, there's no way that they're going to win, because again, they're kind of giving toxic, you know? As much as I like Lucy, they're kind of giving toxic. So I guess we just have to keep watching them argue and then make up, because it doesn't seem like anyone is going to come between them, because I don't really think they care to see a different connection other than each other, because I just think they're comfortable and they want to go far in the end in the game. So they go into the boardroom, like I said, and Clayton is pissed because he thinks he's going to go on a date with a woman, and it ends up being a man. And so his face is completely shocked. And I mean, again, that's kind of that's what happens when you kind of dabble in too many things. And I think it was on purpose. I really do. So we see JR as one of the options, which is interesting because JR and Sandy know each other. They know each other quite well. They were on the ultimatum with each other. Not only were they on the ultimatum with each other, they had a trial marriage with each other. Like, I believe the ultimatum is a 4-week trial marriage. So they were with each other day in, day out for 4 straight weeks. And I have to be honest, I don't quite remember how things ended with them two. Like, I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously not very well, because Sandy and him didn't end up together. Like, I remember JR was just a massive walking red flag. And I remember really liking Sandy, being like, how are you into this guy? And I think it's all coming back to me. I remember even being like, does Sandy even like him? Like, he seems into her, but does she like him? And is she kind of just staying with him because, I don't know, but I just, yeah, he's a massive walking red flag. There's another guy, you know? And I think what's crazy to me is all of these couples that have past relationships with each other, why are all of them trying to give each other a chance on this show? Like, Sandy and JR had so much opportunity to be with each other, or to, you know, they say that they had like unfinished business. Well, you had, I don't know, at least a year since the show has wrapped. The ultimatum at least has wrapped. And so how are you not, you know, messaging each other, meeting up with each other before going on this next show with each other? Like, why are you looking? Oh, again, are you guys listening to your intuition that everyone's talking about? Is it because, oh, you know, we're both here, it's convenient, I think we need to have a conversation and maybe see where things go? I just don't understand. Like, to me, it's like, if you're on a Netflix show, leave the past behind and move forward. And we do see Sandy seeing that eventually, but it took a while to get there. And whether or not that was production, you know, trying to let us on a path, thinking that maybe she would choose JR and match with him, you know, that could also be an option too. But I was really surprised to see her in the boardroom say, oh, maybe I want to go on this date with JR. I was like, please, Sandy, if you go on this date with JR, I'm going to be really upset, because again, like, you know, I do think maybe there's a time and a place for exes to get back together, but I just remembered their relationship not being good whatsoever. And I remember being very the opposite of team JR, that's for sure. So I was glad that she didn't put herself on the date with him. However, to me, it was very clear that she put JR on the date with AD to bring him into the house. that was clear as day. You know, like whether or not she put AD and JR, it's so hard to say. AD and JR, just like letters. Whether or not she put them on a date because she wanted to see Ollie squirm and wanted to see him react, like, yeah, sure, maybe. But also I think you had ulterior motives because you wanted to have a conversation with him, but you didn't want to put yourself on the date because you didn't, you know, maybe you kind of want to look a certain type of way in front of Louis. And so him coming into the house and you putting him on a date with this quote unquote, like, I guess the power couple in the house for right now kind of goes to show Louis, like, oh yeah, she is interested in me. Like, she didn't put herself on any sort of date. That's, I think, maybe what she wanted to be perceived by Louis. But again, to me, it was just such an ulterior motive, bringing him into the house with her not having to actually go on a date. Because obviously he comes into the house, she's still able and has the opportunity to chat with him, you know? And again, it's kind of like production wanted us to think, oh, is she going to partner up and match? I keep saying partner up, which is so a Love Island term. I keep mixing all my terminology. I'm like, is this the villa? Is this a house? I don't know. I'm just going to call it a villa. But yeah, it just, I feel like, I don't know, production kind of wanted us to, you know, think in this episode, is she going to put herself on the date with JR? Is she not? Is she going to partner up with JR? Is she not? But in the end, again, maybe because all of these OGs have a pact with each other, her and Louis end up coupling up and JR gets sent home, which I'm going to be honest, I was kind of happy because I really don't like JR. So they also send Rachel and Scott on a date. And Scott is from Love Island UK and Love Island Games. And, you know, it's hard for me because I really do like Rachel and I really do want Rachel to be happy and find a match for her. And Scott is not the guy. Like, if anyone has seen the shows that Scott is on, he is there for the game. He is there for himself. And I can already see that that is exactly what he is doing on this show. You cannot tell me that he is into Rachel whatsoever. Like, even the way, like, his demeanor with her, the way that he talks to her, the way that he acts with her, like, it is just not giving, oh, I am really into you. I want to see where this goes. I want to see maybe where this goes outside of the house. I'm not getting any of that. I'm getting game player. Let's just match up because I want to make it to the end. And I don't trust him for a second. And I mean, Rachel is very into him. Very into him. And I just don't want her to get hurt. I really don't want Rachel to get hurt, especially because she already was hurt by Clayton in this episode, but also in the season. I really don't want her to get hurt, and I'm sorry, but if someone is going to hurt someone, it is Scott, because again, he's just not there for the right reasons. He really isn't. And I mean, on a show like this, you would hope that people are there to find a match and are not just there. Like, what are you there for? There's no prize money. You're not winning a prize. You're literally winning an all expenses paid trip anywhere in the world with the person that you match with. So if you don't like them, why would you want to go on this trip? Why would you want to win? So I don't know. I don't trust this guy for 1 second. And I hope that Rachel finds someone a little bit better suited for her at the mixer that they have at the end of episode 6. So in episode 7, we'll kind of see it all play out. But yeah, I don't trust Scott for 1 minute. All right, so in episode 5, we see the couples match. And again, like, this also just goes to show that everyone had a pact. Because if you look at all the couples, only one change up, and that's Rachel and Scott. And that's because, I mean, obviously Clayton did it to himself, and he was not, like, Rachel was not going to be choosing him. He obviously left, but everyone else is still paired with their original couple. So it's like, we need a shakeup. We need a change up, because this just staying with each other in every single episode, it's not working for me. They had a challenge in this episode. It was kind of ridiculous. Like, literally ridiculous. Louis and Sandy were doing really well until Louis fell into the water and got disqualified. So then our winners were Daniel and Lucy. And they haven't won a challenge before, so this is their first time going into the boardroom. And lucky for them, there is a massive, massive advantage, I would say. I don't know, advantage, disadvantage, however you want to look at it. I guess it worked for them because they didn't get split up in the end, I guess. But it's a massive change up. And again, it goes back to the show has been status quo, or the couples have been status quo throughout the 5 episodes now. Producers knew, all right, it's time for a change up. I don't know if this has ever happened before on another season. I'm going to be very honest, because I can't really remember how people win in the show. I feel like I started seasons 1 and 2 and never finished them. So I don't know if this has ever happened. So they go into the boardroom and they find out, look, and at first too, when I saw the people on the board, I was like, oh, interesting. There were 2 girls, 2 guys. So I was like, something's different. So they find out that first off, they need to choose who the most compatible couples are in the house. And no surprise, I would say that they chose AD and Ollie. Not surprised. I think what was surprising to me, though, was Madison and Freddie. And I think, too, like, maybe they were one of the most compatible couples, but it kind of goes to show, like, first of all, they weren't an OG couple. Freddie came after the fact. Yeah, sure, he was in episode 2, but he still came after the fact. It goes to show Sandy and Louis, like, if they didn't pick Sandy and Louis, who has been like an OG couple, doesn't that kind of tell you something? That they really aren't that strong? I mean, listen, I'm watching them. I don't see anything. I don't see anything there whatsoever. I don't think he's into Sandy. I honestly thought he was going to pick Alex when she came in a few episodes ago. The fact that he didn't really shocked me. And again, it all goes back to them having a pact, staying with the OG people, being in their OG couple. I just don't see him have like a physical connection with Sandy. And I'm sorry, like, as much as I really do like Sandy, she's kind of boring on the show. Like, there isn't really much going on with her on the show. So I don't know. I think that for me, that was telling, because even though Louis and Sandy are getting way more airtime than Madison and Freddie, like, I feel like we have barely seen Madison and Freddie the past few episodes. So the fact that they were rated one of the top most compatible couples was very shocking to me, but was also very telling to me. So they find out after they rated them the top 2 couples most compatible. Oops. By the way, you now are going to split them up, and you are essentially need to choose one person per couple to go on a date with one of these lovely people that are on the board. And so whoever gets sent on the date, you are sending their partner out of the villa. And listen, I think any of us that have watched Love Island, we know that if you are not specifically saying you will be sent home, they will be sent home, they need to pack their bags and go home, like whatever the verbiage is that says the word home, then it's open to interpretation. And most likely they are just, going to a hotel, but they are very close by and are going to come back. Nick and Landry didn't even leave the villa. They left, they circled around, they went in a Jeep and they left off, and everyone thought that they were gone and got sent packing. And we saw it here. I know no spoilers, 0. I knew first of all, you're going to tell me that you're going to send AD home? No. 100% no was not happening. AD, who is in the only couple at this moment that is really kind of giving us anything right now, any sort of drama, you think they're going to just send her home? No. And again, Nick's wording was very specific. He never said home. He just said they're going to leave the house or something like that. So I just knew they were not leaving. They were close by and they were coming back. But everyone is devastated. So devastated. And I mean, like, I get it. Like, you're in the heat of the moment. You don't necessarily know what's going on. You're not really paying attention. You just hear leave and you're like, oh my God, whatever. So I get it. So they end up choosing Ollie to go on a date, and they choose Madison to go on a date, which, you know, leaves the two, to me, like, two of the biggest reality TV names on this show. Like, they're not the top reality stars, but in the context of this show, they are definitely at the top of the list. Like, you're telling me they're going to send Freddie home, who everyone absolutely loves? Not happening. What I thought was interesting is how upset Freddie was at leaving Madison. I did not, again, we haven't really seen them at all. Like, I don't know if maybe they are having such a good connection that they're just kind of boring and they're just kind of there and they're just not giving them airtime because they're just getting along. We've barely seen them at all. But Freddie was really upset, like crying. And I know that he's an emotional man. He's in tune with his emotions, but he was upset. Madison was so upset. So upset. I mean, rightfully so. How could you not? It's Freddie. But she was so upset. So there's that. Then you see Ollie and AD. AD is losing her mind. She is absolutely just bawling her eyes out, crying. You see Ollie there consoling her, and, you know, he looks upset. He looks upset, you know, he's consoling her, and I don't know if he shed a tear, but AD sure did. So she leaves. And now this brings us into episode 6. And, you know, they find out that, you know, they leave, right? And they find out, okay, they're going to go on a date. So Ollie and Madison have to pull themselves together to go on this date. And Ollie goes, Madison goes. Let's start with Madison, because honestly, I don't have much to say about her date. She goes on her date and it looks like she doesn't want to be there. Like, she looked so over the date. She didn't want to be there. They put her on a boxing date. Why? Like, it's like, you know, people are going on these romantic dates, sitting by the beach. They had a picnic date, painting a picture, cute, romantic, whatever. They put her on this boxing date with 2 guys. So, didn't really understand that. And she didn't want to be there because she really missed Freddie. I get it, Madison. Then you go to Ollie. And, you know, one second he's consoling AD and just saying how upset that he is. And, I mean, the next minute, he finds out that he's on a date with 2 absolutely gorgeous women, Justine and Olivia. I personally absolutely love Justine. I absolutely love her so much. I think she is so gorgeous. Like, my gosh, she is beautiful. She was on, I want to say Love Island. She was on Marco's season, wasn't she? I want to say season 4. Is that right? Season 4. She is an absolute bombshell. And that is a bombshell, you know? So I knew Ollie was in trouble. I mean, both of them are gorgeous, but I mean, that is Ollie's type, like to a T. So I knew he was in trouble. And I mean, the moment the door shut, AD shut the door, Ollie is smiling. Like, he looks so happy to be on this date with these 2 women. And then also, especially just the fact that Justine is there. Like, he is loving life on this date. Like, let's be real, you know? And I think the thing that is really upsetting to watch with Ollie is he has been love bombing AD since day 1. You know, it's not like he has said to AD, I want to see what my options are. Like, I'm open. We're not exclusive. Like, he hasn't said that to AD at all. Like, he essentially, it has been since day one, like, has really tried to lock it down, telling her things like, I'm all in on you. And, you know, I think it's kind of crazy, to be honest, that AD has to watch this back while she's just sitting there and she's pregnant. I don't know if she's watching it back. I don't know what he's told her since the show has wrapped. I don't know, but I can't imagine that seeing the way that he talked to her from the beginning to then her leaving and immediately is 100% okay and is going kind of like all in now on Justine because that is the new beautiful shiny object in front of him. And I can't imagine how AD is feeling at this very moment watching this back. Whether she's watching her back, that's, you know, left to be known, but I'm sure she knows what's going on. Of course she does. There's going to be a reunion. I would assume that there's a reunion. And so she knows to some sort of degree what is going on, you know? And I just think too, what is also interesting is I think Ollie has been edited to look the best that he could possibly look on this show. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Ollie and AD are like Netflix's golden couple. And so they're going to protect them at all costs and make each other look really good as best as they can, you know? And so you're kind of like, if this is the best light that they can paint Ollie in, then what else was happening? What else was he doing? Because, I mean, we saw in this episode, or maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. No, it was in this episode that night he's kissing Justine. And, you know, she's trying to block the camera. And so I don't know. I don't know how AD must feel, honestly. I don't. And I just, again, it goes back to just the whole love bombing thing. We talked a lot about that on the last season of Love Island, and it's happening again. And it's really tough to watch because it's kind of like, you know, he's sad when AD leaves. As soon as she's gone, he turns on this happy face, is loving what he's seeing with Justine, matches up with her, is kissing up on her, and now in the next episode, he's going to find out that AD is back. And so what is going to happen then, you know? And I'm very, very, very curious to see what happens in episode 7. Obviously, look, they're together, they're engaged, they're having a baby. So clearly, we can only hope that they have worked things out, right? You know, we can only hope that they, you know, have worked things out. But I'm just, you know, what I'm seeing, it's giving red flag energy. What I'm seeing on my screen, just my humble opinion. So in that evening, they have a mixer, and there's one rule. The new guys and the new girls that come in cannot match up with each other. Everyone else is fair game. Makes total sense, right? Because again, they want the people that are in the house to choose new people. And spoiler alert, it's still not really happening. The only people that are partnered up and have matched with anyone else that's different are the two people that went on the date because they've literally no other option. So no surprise. Ollie matched up with Justine. Like, not surprised at all. I would say I was surprised with Madison and Jalen coupling up. To be honest, I don't really know who Jalen is. I don't watch his show, so I didn't know. I mean, she said that is her type to a T. But, I mean, look. When Freddie comes back next episode, you think that she's going to stay with Jalen? God, no. She's 100% going to go back to Freddie. And this is where we get another red flag. Speaking of red flags, Daniel again. This honestly, like, shook me to my core. I could not get over this argument. Like, wow. So Lucy's talking with one of the guys, one of the new guys, and they're talking about their zodiac sign, and I believe he says his birthday, and she's shook because that is the same birthday as her toxic ex. So she just starts belting out laughing because she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you have the same birthday as my toxic ex. Like, what are we doing here kind of thing? Like, I need to run. But like in a joking way. And she's laughing. She's loud. You know, she's loud. We know that. We've seen her talk on the show. She's laughing. Daniel is so mad and keeps using the word embarrassed. He's like, I'm so embarrassed that you're having this grand old time with this new boy that has just walked in. That is not me. I'm so embarrassed the fact that my boy has to ask me what my girl is laughing at so hard. Daniel, it's not all about you. Like, I literally don't know how this is making you mad. And again, it goes back to red flags. Every single episode we have seen Daniel get mad at Lucy for something so small and ridiculous. This was actually nothing to be mad over. It wasn't even small. It was nothing. She was having a conversation. She was laughing. The girl did nothing wrong. And again, the frustrating thing for me is that Lucy matched up with Daniel that same evening. And it's like, look, Lucy, I'm really trying to root for you, but you got to get out of this relationship. He is not the guy. He is a walking red flag. And I don't know from now until the end of the season if she's going to step outside of this relationship because, like I said earlier, she's comfortable and they all have this pact going on that they're not going to go anywhere else. And I mean, maybe too, it's like if she even tries to go away from their relationship, you think he's going to take it well? No, like I'd be scared, honestly. Not scared. Like, I mean, I'd be a little bit scared. Not that he's going to do anything, but scared from the perspective of if that's how he's going to act with his girl just laughing and having a conversation and a good time, then how is he going to react when she maybe kind of tries to step outside and explore something else? So I don't know. I really do hope though that someone puts her on a date and she really jumps ship, honestly, because she should not be with him. She shouldn't. It really is a toxic relationship. It's not a relationship, but it's toxic. And I don't know too how any of the girls are even giving her these red flags and pointing them out. I'm pretty surprised. So at the end of the episode, we see that there is a social happening. And I think this happens on every season where all of the singles, so all of the people that we've kind of either seen left or the people that are on the screens and they never had the opportunity to come into the house, they all come into the house. So the girls and the guys separate. The single girls go into the guys section of the villa. I don't really know where they go. Same with the women. The guys come in and they mingle. They mix and mingle. And so where I'm really curious is, when does AD show up? Because, I mean, if the producers were playing it right, then Ollie would be had the opportunity to mix and mingle and maybe do a little something with Justine in the group. It looks like they're having a great old time at the party. And does AD show up an hour later kind of thing? And is Ollie kind of doing something in the moment? And that's when they cue AD to walk in and she sees him doing something. I mean, that's what if I was a producer, that's what I would do. So I can only think that that's what they were thinking. And so I'm curious to see what happens. And so I feel like fireworks are going to go off and there's definitely going to be something going down between Ollie, AD, and Justine. And I'm here for it. So that is the end of the recap for those 3 episodes 4 through 6. And, it all goes back to what I said at the very beginning. I think it's a good show, but I think they need to iron some things out. It's new, it's 3 seasons in. So I get that it's not perfect and perfect match. Perfect match is not perfect, but they do have to figure things out. How do they shake things up? How do they make sure that couples are not staying with each other from day one to the end? Like, how can bombshells make a bigger splash and impact in this show? How can they have more of an opportunity to explore connection with other people? Like, can they be given the opportunity to stay in the villa longer? Like, there's so many things that I really do think they need to fix and iron out in order to make this show a success. So I will be back before you know it to recap, I don't know, maybe episodes 7 and 8. Yeah, probably 7 and 8, and then I'll do 9 and 10 in another podcast. So that'll do it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please rate, subscribe, review, do all of the things. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yourrealitycheck.pod. And I cannot wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye.